Snow gently fell outside as I placed the last ornament on the Christmas tree. This was my first Christmas without Gabriel, and the big empty house felt lonelier than ever. Gabriel, my husband of 15 years, had passed away 3 months ago. He left me with memories, a broken heart, and though his family didn't know it yet, full ownership of everything he had. Sarah, my mother-in-law, Barbara, called out sharply, snapping me out of my thoughts. Why are there new ornaments on the tree? Our family's old decorations should be the main ones. I turned to face her, forcing a polite smile. I thought we could mix in some of the ornaments Gabriel and I collected over the years. He always loved. Gabriel isn't here anymore, she interrupted coldly. It's time things go back to how they should be. Barbara had moved in 2 weeks after the funeral, saying she needed to help me manage the house. A week later, my sister-in-law, Christine, arrived with her husband, Roy, both suddenly very interested in the family property. But Gabriel had warned me. They'll try to push you out, he had said before he died. They never thought you were good enough for me. They wanted me to marry someone from their world. Promise me you'll be ready. I promised. At the time, I thought he was just being dramatic. But now, watching Barbara rearrange the tree to her liking, I realized he had been right. The doorbell rang. Expecting the caterers for Christmas Eve dinner, I opened the door, only to find Victoria, Gabriel's ex-fiancée. My throat dropped. Victoria. Barbara rushed forward to hug her. I'm so glad you could come. I stood frozen. Come for what? Christine smirked. For Christmas Eve dinner, of course. Mom thought it would be nice to have a real family gathering. Family. After 15 years of marriage, they still considered Gabriel's ex more family than me. Throughout the evening, they showered Victoria with attention. They kept reminding me how well she had married, how involved she was in charity work, how she understood their world in a way I never could. Remember when Gabriel was going to propose at the country club? Barbara sighed. Everything was perfect before. Well, before things changed. Before he met me, I excused myself to the kitchen, needing space. But their voices carried from the dining room. Poor Gabriel, Victoria said with fake sympathy, trapped in a marriage beneath him. At least now, he's at peace. The house feels wrong with her here, Christine added. All these cheap decorations, these middle-class touches. Mother, we have to do something. Already taken care of, Barbara replied. The lawyers say that without a clear will, the property returns to the family. She'll be out by New Year's. I smiled to myself. Gabriel had known they would do this. Let them think they've won, he had advised me. Let them show their true colors. Then, when the time is right. The next day, Christmas Eve was bright and cold. Barbara bossed the staff around, while Christine and Victoria went through old photo albums, loudly reminiscing about Gabriel's life before me. More guests arrived, people who had always doubted I belonged in their world. As the party got underway, Barbara tapped her glass for attention. Friends, family, she said, this year has been difficult for all of us. Losing Gabriel has left a void that can never be filled. But tonight we start healing. We restore things to the way they should be. My heart pounded. This was it. Sarah, she turned to me with a sharp smile. You've been patient these past months, but it's time to be honest. This house, this legacy, belongs to the Carter family. You understand that you can't stay here. The room went silent. Everyone watched me, some with pity, most with satisfaction. Christine stepped forward, handing me an envelope. We've arranged a modest apartment in town. Given your background, it should be more than enough. I took the envelope without opening it. You want me to leave tonight? Barbara nodded. We've already packed your things. I glanced at the suitcases by the door. They had planned us carefully, throwing me out on Christmas Eve, in front of everyone. It's snowing outside, I said quietly. This is our house now, Christine snapped. You never belonged here anyway. Victoria placed a comforting hand on Barbara's shoulder. It's for the best. Gabriel would have wanted the house to stay in the proper family. I looked around the room. I looked at the Christmas tree, one Gabriel and I had decorated together every year. At the photos they had already started taking down. At the life we had built, the life they wanted to erase. Very well, I said calmly, picking up my coat. I'll go. Finally, she sees reason. Barbara announced proudly, Don't worry about the legal matters, dear. Our lawyers will be in touch after the holidays. I paused at the door, turning back one last time. Merry Christmas, I said softly. I'll see you all very soon. Their laughter followed me as I stepped out into the snow. What they didn't know, what Gabriel had carefully planned before he died, was about to change everything. As I drove through the snowy streets to the five-star hotel where I had already booked the presidential suite, I made 2 phone calls. The first was to Marcus Chin, Gabriel's personal lawyer for the past 10 years. They did it, I told him, exactly as Gabriel predicted. On Christmas Eve. Marcus sighed, unbelievable. But this actually works in our favor. Meet me in my office first thing on the 26th. The security cameras recorded everything, I added. Every word. Gabriel's high-tech system had done its job. The second call was to Detective Sarah Martinez. You have the proof, she asked immediately. Everything, I confirmed. Barbara's embezzlement from the family foundation, Christine's insurance fraud. It's all there. Gabriel kept detailed records. We'll take action on the 26th, she promised. Merry Christmas, Sarah. As I pulled into the hotel's heated garage, a valet hurried forward to collect my real bags. The ones packed with things that actually mattered. Not the suitcases Barbara and Christine had so kindly packed for me. In my suite, I opened my laptop to review the final steps of Gabriel's plan. He had spent his last months preparing for this moment. He had documented every shady transaction, every secret his family had kept hidden. They'll think they've won, he had told me. That's when they'll let their guard down. They'll celebrate by accessing the foundation's accounts, thinking it's all theirs again. I smiled, remembering how determined he had been, even in his final days. His family had tried to erase me from his life, just like they had tried to stop our marriage years ago. But what they didn't know was that Gabriel had secretly transferred everything to me long before he passed away. The house, the businesses, the family foundation, everything, legally mine, and all the paperwork was in place. Gabriel had left me something else, proof of years of financial wrongdoing by his so-called beloved family. Barbara had been stealing money from the family's charity, Christine had been running insurance scams, and Gabriel had gathered all the evidence, carefully saved and ready to be used when the time was right. My phone buzzed with messages from their celebration. Finally got rid of the gold digger. The house can go back to its former glory. Gabriel would be so happy things are back to normal. I took screenshots and added them to the evidence file. Let them celebrate. In 1 week, their world would fall apart. As snow fell outside my luxury suite, I raised a glass of Gabriel's favorite wine. Merry Christmas, my love, I whispered. The show was about to begin. The week between Christmas and New Year's passed in a blur. While Barbara and the others enjoyed their so-called victory, I worked with Marcus, setting everything in motion. On December 26, 2 things happened at the same time. First, Marcus officially filed my ownership documents, backed by the security footage of their cruel Christmas Eve stunt. Second, Detective Martinez froze the foundation's accounts, right as Barbara tried to transfer a large bonus to herself. On December 30th, my phone rang. It was Christine. There must be some mistake, she said, her usual arrogance gone. The foundation's accounts are frozen. Mother can't access anything. No mistake, I said, just karma. What did you do? She demanded. Me? Nothing. Your mother's creative accounting finally caught up with her. And Christine, those insurance claims you filed? Investigators are very interested in those. She hung up. Moments later, Barbara called. You spiteful little witch, she hissed. How dare you interfere with the foundation? Do you even know who we are? I know exactly who you are, I replied. Gabriel knew too. That's why he spent his last months collecting proof. Silence. Then. What do you want? Want? Nothing. I already have everything. The house, the foundation, the businesses. Gabriel transferred them all to me months ago. Legally, permanently. I heard her breath catch. You're lying. Check with your lawyers, I said, though they might be a little busy. Fraud investigations take up so much time. The next morning, I walked into my mansion with Marcus and a security team. Barbara, Christine, and Roy were waiting, their lawyer standing nearby. This is our family home. Barbara snapped. You have no right to be here. Marcus stepped forward, holding up the documents. Mrs. Carter has every right. Full ownership was transferred to her by your son on June 15th with witnesses. Gabriel would never. Christine started. Actually, I said, cutting her off, it was his idea. He knew exactly what you'd do after he was gone. The only surprise was how fast you showed your true colors. The lawyer skimmed through the paperwork. His face paled. These are legally binding. Mrs. Carter owns everything. Not everything. Barbara spat. The foundation is under investigation, Detective Martinez said, stepping inside with several officers, along with some suspicious insurance claims. I watched as their faces filled with shock. Gabriel hadn't just protected me, he had exposed them. And now they were finally facing the consequences. Detective Martinez stepped forward. Mrs. Barbara Carter, she announced, we have a warrant for your arrest on charges of embezzlement and fraud. This is ridiculous, Barbara shouted, looking around in panic. Victoria, call Vincent. She meant Victoria's husband, a well-connected judge. I smiled. Victoria won't be coming. She has her own legal troubles. Something about tax evasion. Barbara's face turned pale as officers led her away. Christine turned to me, tears streaming down her face. Please, she begged. You can't do this. We'll lose everything. Like you tried to ruin me? I asked calmly, throwing me out into the snow on Christmas Eve, packing my bags with old clothes. We were grieving. Roy tried to argue. No, I corrected. You were celebrating. The cameras caught everything, every cruel word, every smug little moment. Over the next few hours, they packed their real belongings, under supervision, of course. The once proud Carter family now reduced to loading suitcases into rental cars. At the door, Barbara turned back. He was my son, she said, her voice breaking. Yes, I agreed. And he spent his final months making sure you couldn't hurt me the way you hurt him. After they left, I walked through the house, my house, remembering Gabriel's words. Let them think they've won at first, then show them exactly why I fell in love with you. Your strength, your intelligence, your ability to rise above their cruelty. In the months that followed, everything changed. Barbara and Christine faced legal consequences. Their high society friends abandoned them. Meanwhile, under my leadership, the family foundation finally started helping people instead of funding vanity projects. Without Barbara draining money, the business thrived. 1 year later, I hosted a Christmas party in the mansion, this time, with people who truly mattered. The Christmas tree sparkled with both antique and new ornaments, each one a symbol of love, memory, or hope. Gabriel would have loved it. My phone buzzed with news. Barbara and Christine had taken plea deals. No jail time, but heavy fines and mandatory community service. Their once loyal friends had turned their backs. Later that evening, as the party quieted down, I found myself in Gabriel's study. His photo rested above the fireplace, his familiar smile watching over me. You were right, I whispered. About everything. The next morning, an unexpected letter arrived. From Victoria. I was wrong about you, she wrote. Gabriel chose better than any of us realized. The foundation's actually making a difference. If you're willing, I'd like to help. I thought about it, then sent a short reply. The adult literacy program needs volunteers Tuesday nights. Don't be late. 2 years after being thrown out into the snow, I stood in the grand hall, watching as another Christmas tree was decorated. But this time, the story was different, one of justice, redemption, and turning pain into something greater. As I gazed out at the falling snow, I remembered Gabriel's final words to me. The best revenge isn't proving them wrong, love. It's building something better than they ever imagined. Looking around at the home we built, I knew we had done just that. And somewhere, I was sure Gabriel was smiling.